So every time I find a black person online who say they support this country, I realize that as Africans and as South Africans in particular, we have failed to teach our people about apartheid and our oppression. Because if you knew the things that this country did to you, to your parents and to your grandparents, there is no way in hell that you will ever say that you stand with this country. So today, I'm here to give you some of the facts, some of the ways that this country was involved in your oppression, in the murdering of a lot of our activists and our children. Now, as a disclaimer, when I say this country, I'm not talking about the entire people. I'm talking about the Zionist regime that runs and controls the country. Now, let's start with establishment. This country was established in 1948. And which other system was also established in 1948? Apartheid. Now, quickly after that, the two countries became best buddies. Now let's look at some of the things that they shared together. So the first one was joint propaganda. The two countries collaborated a lot when it comes to how do you set up propaganda? How do you lie to the world so that the world thinks that the people that you're oppressing are violent, unruly, and terrorists? So the second thing was shared tactics. How do you do crowd control? How do you control the population? The reason why they were homestead and people were put in small corners of the country is the same thing that is happening in this country, where you have Gaza and you have the West Bank. So all of these things were discussed, designed, tested, and tried between the two countries. Things like checkpoints, don't pass. Yes, don't pass, that don't pass. The people of Gaza also need to produce a document whenever they need to travel in or out of Gaza or in or out of the West Bank. But now let's get to serious things. The guns that were used to oppress our people whenever there was an uprising, right? The guns that were used to shoot, including 1976 massacre of the students in Soweto. Some of those guns included the R4 and the Uzi machine gun. Do you know where those guns come from? They come from this country. Now let's look at the uniform. The uniform of this country and then compare that with the uniform of the apartheid government. As you can see, the same colors, the same rifle, the same boots, almost the same everything. Now let's get to stronger weapons like fighter jets. The two were in cooperation, even nuclear weapons. The two countries collaborated during nuclear tests. In 1979, there was the Vela incident, which was a double flash of explosions that were seen by satellites, which were happening towards the south of South Africa. It was this country and the apartheid government that were working close together to make sure that the apartheid government has nuclear weapons, so that if things were ever to get out of control, they can use them. Now it doesn't end there. How do you deliver a nuclear weapon? You need a ballistic missile. Incoming the RSA-2 and the RSA-3, which are copies of the Jericho missile from this country. Now let's get to intelligence. You've seen how this country is very efficient when it comes to tracking people down and knowing where those people were, right? You saw the incident that happened in Lebanon where a lot of people were targeted depending on where they were. Now most of the equipment that the apartheid government was using to track down our leaders, people like Mandela, people like whoever they were tracking down, they were coming from this country. The ammunition, the bullets, the uniform, the boots, the colors, even the names, IDF, SADF. And just to end it off, during the 1990s, when the apartheid government was saying that we can't do this anymore, when they were at the ropes, about to give up power, to give it to black people, to say that, you know what, I don't think we can keep oppressing these people anymore. This country came out and say, we will support you. Why do you want to give out power to these people? We will be there for you. You don't need to give power. So whenever I see a black person coming out and say, I stand with this country, not only does it make me feel sad, like I have this feeling of like anger and sadness at the same time. Because a part of me doesn't blame that person. That person doesn't have access to all of this information. But also, I'm like, but if you just go online and look, you will find it. Nobody's going to come and bring us this information, guys. As black people, we need to understand that everyone else doesn't forget their traumas. Everyone else makes sure that their kids learn this thing as they're growing up, so that this thing never happens again to them. But as black people, it's like we are forced to forget. We are forced to not talk about it. Don't teach about it. Just talk about Nelson Mandela came out. It's like for black people, you are told that the story of oppression, colonialization, and apartheid is people arrived in the 1600s, they started to move, there were a few conflicts here and there, and then there was apartheid, and then Nelson Mandela came out of jail, and voila, today. And in Africa, we have a saying that if somebody wanted your parents dead, or if somebody hates or is an enemy of your parents, that person cannot be the friend of yours. That person cannot change and become your friend and wish what is best for you. So this country was involved in tracking down our liberators, in providing ammunition to make sure that they were killed, in killing the children during uprisings, killing our mothers, killing our fathers, in supporting this country with fighter jets, with nuclear bombs to make sure that if things ever get out of hand, the apartheid government can use that to defend itself against us or any other external forces. And on top of that, to build propaganda machine to make sure that we were seen as violent, unruly, and as terrorists. And when the apartheid government was ready to give up, saying that we can't do this anymore, this country came out and said, we will support you. We will be on your side. There's no reason to give power to these black people. And the reason why I created this channel is mostly to bring information to the people, and I'm gonna play my part. But there's a huge chance that this video is not going to be shared, because I made another video after I visited the Palestinian embassy here in London, and that video got less than 3,000 views. I think it got 2,400 views, whereas you can see that all of the videos around it are getting millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views, but not this video. Not only that, some views are being removed from that video. So if your question is, why am I not calling this country by name, is because I know that if I do that, the algorithm is gonna ban my video and shadow ban it, so that the message or the information that I'm trying to talk about doesn't get spread. Now in closing, there's a reason why Nelson Mandela said that we are not free until the Palestinians are free. It's because if the apartheid government was the left boot, this country was the right boot. Both of them were stamping on us, and they've been doing so since 1948. So if you're wondering why do South Africans care so much about Palestinians in this country, it's because they were involved directly in oppressing us. And if you think that can't come back, yes it can. You've heard about settlements in the West Bank, right? Now there are rumors about settlements that are being bought in Cape Town, in the Western Cape. And out of the blue, there's a huge movement now that wants the Western Cape to become a country. That's why the involvement, for example, of the UAE in Sudan matters. That's why the involvement of the United States in Congo matters. So we should never shy away from talking about these things. We should talk about Sudan. We should talk about Congo. We should talk about Palestinians. Because like you said, we are really not free until everybody else is free. So I hope that this will make you understand that this country, the leadership, the Zionists of this country have never been friends of black people in South Africa or in Africa in general. So before you say that you stand with this country, for whatever reason, biblical or whatever reasons, I just wanted you to know what these people did to you, to your mothers, to your fathers, to your grandparents. So that's where I'm going to leave this video. So I'm going to be making much longer videos to dive into things like the economy, investments. As you saw right now, Europe has just invested 11.5 billion euros into South African green energy. Is that a good thing? Because there's a lot there that you might not know. So please stay tuned and go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is on the bio above. And please repost this video and share and like, and I'll see you there.